What's up, guys? My name is Mr. Stark, and I'm going to give you a tour of the electrical lab here at Porter & Chester in Waterbury. I'm also going to be going over a bunch of things that you're going to be learning in the process of the whole year that you're going to be here, and learning all about electrical stuff so that you can go on and be the greatest apprentice in the world. So let's take a look around. Excuse me while I try to focus this up. Right now we're in the commercial lab at Porter & Chester in Waterbury. And it looks like a lot, but everything that you see in here is electrically related to your trade. So the wall that we're looking at right now is called our PLC, Programmable Logic Controller wall. Inside those big boxes we have these little microcomputers, if you will. They're called PLCs, and we're able to do all kinds of cool circuits, really complicated stuff where we program them on a laptop and then wire in some field devices and make the stuff work according to a sequence of operations. If you look around, you've got some red panels on that back wall, and we'll scan over here real slow. We got some red panels on this wall. This is basically where we teach you all about fire alarm systems. Fire alarm systems obviously are in most commercial buildings. It's a very important skill and knowledge to have, as well as understanding the code and theory that goes with these systems. What you're looking at in front of you here is just a basic display of conduit bending. Some projects that students put up that are really creative, nice panel wiring up there. If you look over here, we've got pipe that's painted. This is very skilled conduit bending, where we teach students how to bend a variety of different bends that we would do in the field. For instance, we've got 90-degree bends, we've got kicks, we've got what's called a 3-point saddle and box offsets, 4-point saddles over here. And we try to get them all bent and make them look nice so that we can get in the field and be able to put stuff up in the air around the walls and work side by side with licensed electricians and, you know, have the same skill set that they have as an apprentice. If you look up here, it's another project that we made. Right in the center of that box is a timer, and they're basically relays that are timers, and there's, you know, bells and whistles that go off when the Nerf basketball hoop goes inside that basketball. So once again, it's all conduit bending, but what's cool about it is if you could make a shot, let's just see if I can get this ball to go in, which I'm not that good at it. As you can tell, we're gonna leave that there. Just assume that the ball went through, and we're gonna be here all day. And that's kind of cool. It sets off a little light that's up in the ceiling, and you know, you got the little horn that goes off, and it's just a fun way of showing what we can do with electrical. And basically this is, you know, it's some basic electrical relays with a limit switch underneath the hoop that sets it off when the ball goes through. Just trying to get your minds thinking about being creative in the electrical trade is half of the enthusiasm. If you're motivated in electrical, then you're going to be motivated to finish. And most of the courses that are in the electrical program here, some of them are pretty difficult, and you're going to be online for a lot of the stuff, and you're going to need me as a resource, an online resource. You're going to need me in the classroom setting. You're certainly going to need all the skills that I have to offer in the lab setting. A couple other kind of cool projects we had students make in their spare time. We took scrap conduit, and instead of throwing it in the garbage, we recycled pieces of it and made a cool little, we call it a mandelier instead of a chandelier. We've actually got a couple of them. Here's another one over here. And it's just a way of showing that you can bend conduit, and you can be creative, and you could build, you can fabricate and install things, which is a lot of what we do as electricians. Right here you've got a couple of PLCs with a lighting sequence, and this control box actually operates that cube that's going to cycle through all 6 sides, and it's basically programmed in as timers on the PLC, and you can see how it shows off every little picture that's on this. And these are just flat LED panels that we've made into the shape of a cube. Had students bending conduit up in the air. So now we're up here, you know, 10, 12 feet in the air, and they're putting in all kinds of different types of transition bends that you might see in the field. And then let's take a look into our other lab space. You know, before we go, we got a little bit of a low voltage data rack. So you got a bunch of patch panels, and your workmanship has to be done meticulously, and these students did a great job, and we lit it up with these little LED lights to show it off. and we'll tear it down and we'll have new students do the same exact thing. Coming around over here into this corner, we're looking up here and we got Pretty Crafty. These guys made a bird, a phoenix if you will, or an eagle, out of conduit. And what's neat about this is there's actually a circuit in there that energizes the lights that come on. Pretty neat. We're now going to walk into our residential space. Let me get the lights turned on. And what you can see when we're in here is we've got a full residential fit up, if you will, where we could mock different rooms in a house. We could pretend the lower levels are, you know, kitchen, living room, and the upper levels are bedrooms, whatever you want. We design this space based upon what we want it to be, and then we look in the code book and wire rooms according to the National Electrical Code Book. The 2020 version is what we're on right now. And if you kind of look around in here, it's more the same thing. We've got highly skilled projects that students have done throughout their time here at Porter and Chester. And this particular campus, we've been here about 5 years, and we've got a lot of cool, fun things. We've got more creative conduit stuff. I mean, it's everywhere. We've got a game here. If you look at this is basically like an operation game, and your goal is to get this thing around the pipe without touching the pipe. Right now the circuit's off, but if you touch the pipe, it sets off a horn, which is basically like saying, you know, operation, the game, and it would just make a siren go off and you'd have to reset and try it again. But this is electrical circuitry at its finest to get this thing to work. Once again, we have another wall in this space that's set up for the residential panels. You can see we've got a wide variety of panels on these walls, and what's next to these are transfer switches. We use these residentially for generators. So each student can have their own panel. We wire it up like it would be a normal house. We put in regular circuits just like you'd have in your house, and then we wire the transfer switch to those panels, and then we plug it in a simulated generator, and we get these things to work on generator power. We've got another wall of the same thing over here. More panels, more transfer switches, plenty of space to do what you need to do. And then of course we have another course. We install electrical services. Many of you know, on the outside of your house, you got that meter socket, and then it goes up a span, depending on how high your house is, and it picks up the overhead cabling from the street. So one side of this would be the outside of the house, and then the other side of this would come down into your house, and then you'd have your panel inside, and then we show how neat and clean the wiring should be inside of your panel. And then last but not least, we've got another setup for security panels that goes all the way down the wall, so when you're learning about basic alarm, you'll be wiring up alarm panels. And of course, yes, we've got a basketball hoop here too, so if you get done with your lab and you want to play Nerf basketball, works the same as the other one, and you know, kids have fun. So as we finish up this tour here, understand that there's going to be a lot of work that you have to do online. There's going to be a lot of direction that makes you understand what you need to do to complete this program. And last, certainly not least, come here with your head screwed on tight, be motivated, because I'm motivated and I'm constantly moving. You'll never see me sitting around. I'm always helping people and trying to get the things done so that you guys can go off, be the best apprentices ever. I'm looking forward to meeting you when you come here at Porter and Chester. My name is Mr. Stark, and I'll see you when you get here.